to you. It's Chris Reardon with you, another United Kingdom talk. Hello, my darlings. And something has made me laugh my head off. We got happy news, we got sad news, but first, the thing that made me laugh my head off. I've been searching around. I hope you don't mind. I mean, it's a little bit a little bit pretentious, this possibly, but now and again, I do have a little look around different forums and in Google on myself to see if anything's written anything. And I've come across something which has made me die. It's made me die. Now, there's this group of, there's this forum called Anorak Nation. Now, these people are heavily into radio and television. Well, there's different anoraks are into different things. Now, you get train anoraks, don't you? Who sit there on platforms at train stations and write down all the numbers of the trains that come in. Why? It's beyond me, dear. It's beyond me. And they go away from here, from these train platforms, with the numbers of the trains, what sort of train they are, and all this. And that's all they do. They are train anoraks. Well, there are radio anoraks as well. Now, these are not normal listeners. Absolutely not. They're anything but normal. I'm telling you that now. They are anything but normal. And they discuss the good bits of radio, the bad bits of radio, the technicalities of radio. And I found my name. They've been talking about me, boys and girls. How exciting is that? I am being spoken about. And the actual discussion title, so that the title is, the first person that starts the discussion off comes up with the title. And the title was Very Strange Programme on RTI. Now, RTI is the satellite station that carries this programme, okay? Very strange programme on RTI. It says, oh, I've lost it now. Oh, who's the guy that talks? And someone has answered here, that man who can talk and talk and talk about any old rubbish. What a cheek, dear. Any old rubbish? All my subjects are of the utmost importance, if you don't mind me saying so, dear. What a cheek. Talk about rubbish, dear. Anyway, let me read the email first. Or the forum post. That man who can talk and talk and talk about any old rubbish, and then it says not Eric. Because Eric does a show on this station as well. Makes, and this, it goes on, makes for very strange listening. Now, I'm trying to work that out. What is strange about listening, or indeed watching this show? Please tell me, because I don't know, dear. I don't know. Is it because I don't fit in one of those little boxes? Well, I don't want to fit in one of those boxes, dear. What a liberty. We carry on. That man on RTI who can talk and talk and talk about any old rubbish, not Eric, makes for very strange listening. He wouldn't win a prize against the just a minute rule. Here's the best bit, right? But he certainly has an ability to waffle aimlessly. What does he mean by that? Waffle aimlessly? I thought when you waffled aimlessly, you'd be talking about rubbish that no one else is interested in, dear. Waffle aimless. Me? Waffle aimless. I've never heard anything like it in all my life, dear. I've never heard anything like it. And this person says, now I wonder, does he pay for his time? Does he get paid for his time? Or does he do it for free? And someone else has answered that he does it for free, which is true. All right? It's no problem. I don't have a problem with that. I do know it is very hard. It's very hard for those of you with limited intelligence to understand that someone would want to do something for nothing. It is hard to understand, but there's a thing called enjoyment, okay? I enjoy doing it, and certain people, clearly not you, enjoy listening to me, quote, waffling aimlessly. What a liberty, dear. Anyway, it's been answered by the great Eric. Oh, just a minute. When you say Eric, you have to get down on one knee and genuflect. It says, correct, sir. I consider Chris to be Marmite Radio. You love him or you don't. And it's a shame more stations don't have the something to air Marmite shows. Chris has a good following in Slovakia and Poland, not to mention other areas of the world. So we like Chris, and that's from Eric. Thank you for answering that, Eric. But I'm not upset at all by this. I think it's hilarious. I just love the words. He has an ability to waffle aimlessly. There should be a certificate on the wall. Chris Reardon, winner of Waffling Aimlessly Award. What do you reckon, eh? Whoever wrote this post, I don't suppose they even watch or listen to the show. But just in case you do, thanks, and keep it up. Love it. All publicity is good. There's an email address to the show. It's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, I was actually just talking to my friend Eric on the phone, and I mentioned in my continuing clearing the throat problem, which has been going on for ages. I've never actually gone to the doctor and mentioned it to him. Of course, incidentally, talking of doctors, my ears are now fine. They have stopped itching. I had that little spray thing that I let you listen to the other week when it sprayed in my ear. That sorted that out. So no more ear problems and no more eye. I think this eye is slightly closed rather than the other one, isn't it? The one on the right hand side. But not really itching now. Now I was talking to Eric on the phone about the old problem with the clearing of a throat, and he said, do you have a glass of water nearby? I said no. He said that might be part of the problem, because our friend, we both know Steve Allen, who does a show on a radio station in London, he advised Eric to always have a glass of water nearby. So here it is. Now, do I want to clear my throat? Yeah, I still want to clear it. What can you do? You can't win. I shall persevere with the water and see if that makes any difference, all right? Now, we've got to say hello to someone new today, joining us via the Facebook thing. Stuart, who says, hi, Chris. Thanks, mate. I've been an avid listener for ages. It's me, and I do remember you writing in, who was saying about not being proud to be Scottish. And also about the Birdsong on DAB radio. Hope you're well, mate, just working hard. And that's from Stuart. So thanks for joining us on the Facebook there, Stuart. Anyone else who wants to join us on Facebook, do a search for Chris Reardon London. And you should come up with a picture of me. Look for the picture of me with the cup, and you can click an add friends thing there if you want to, OK? Chris Reardon London on Facebook. Incidentally, I see Facebook have changed their layout. Yep, Facebook have changed the layout. They have, and it's that old thing, I'm afraid. They have a perfectly good working formula. A formula that everyone knows and loves. And what do? They go and change it. It's not good. It's not good. We've had this before with Coca-Cola. Do you remember? Years and years ago, they changed the formula. I have no doubt in my mind that Coca-Cola spent an arm and a leg probably going around with different little cups of their drink, which I do like, and testing with people which one do you think's better. And all these people probably said B, you know. And then eventually they decided, OK, we'll change the Coke that we sell to people. And B became the seller. And people didn't like it. They wanted the original back. Why, oh, why do people change things when it's working? It's like they're changing it for the sake of it. And it's just so stupid. And Facebook have gone and done the same now. Maybe you like the new layout. I don't. Does it mean the old layout is better? Or is it more likely, and this is my personal opinion, that people like yourself and me who use the Facebook, OK, are we just used to the old one? So why change it? It's not an improvement. All you've done is move the deck chairs over the deck on the boat. You haven't actually done anything new. You've just moved everything around. Why did you have to do that? There are people, of course, that are constantly moving things around. You know, you go around people's houses, and every time you go around there, like, the furniture's in a different position. I'm not like that. Once I've got a way of doing things, that's it. I'm afraid it's... You know, can't teach an old dog new trick, or an old cat. I think I'm more close to a cat than a dog. Can't teach a new dog old tricks, or an old dog new tricks, whatever it is. And I'm not keen on the new Facebook at all. I wonder how many people will leave that and go somewhere else. Interesting. Joy in Acton. Now, at the moment, I'm DVDing these programmes for Joy because she's had trouble listening. I'll come to that a little bit later on. But Joy in Acton, Facebook, that's like it's like a club, okay? Joy in Acton, she's not very good with technology, so I always have to explain these things to her. But of course, she's not the only one. When I say to Joy in Acton, of course, it is for her benefit. But there are plenty of other Joys in Acton out there who don't use a computer, listen to this show on the radio or the satellite. I know you're there, and that's why I explain all technological things as well as I can. Now, Facebook is this thing on the internet, okay? And it's like a club. And you can join a club and see what other members of the club are doing at any given time, assuming that they've told the club what they're doing. And you put photographs on there, little videos. Indeed, this programme, United Kingdom Talk, whenever there's a new United Kingdom Talk on, then I usually send out a little message on Facebook on the fun wall or the super wall. Now, if you are watching this programme on the Facebook or the super wall, can I ask you to do me a tiny little favour? It's not that I ask you to do much, is it? Come on, be honest. All I ask is tiny little favour, something I don't usually ask. If you're watching this via the Facebook, could you possibly send this episode to everyone in your address book? It's quite easy to use. If you're on the fun wall, bring it up on there and then click send to all friends. I ask you to do that just to spread the word that this programme is there. The hardest thing about, I think, doing a little show like this is getting the word around that you're doing it. Not twisting people's arm. You will watch this. There are plenty of people who might watch this for a couple of minutes and go, oh my God, that's awful. And then they turn off. That's okay. But at least they know it's there then. And that's the hard thing about it. One person that's just started doing his own podcasts that I'm hoping to talk to at some point, but he reckons he wants to do a few more shows before he comes on to talk about it, is my good friend Ross P, who is now doing a podcast. Now, I will give you the website for that, okay? And you can subscribe on the iTunes to Ross P's radio show. It's very similar to this show and AmericanTalkUSA.com, and of course James Dean's show. We're like a little group of us all getting together. Joe, I don't know if you've heard Ross P's show yet. Joe is the guy who does AmericanTalkUSA.com. But Ross P, I was listening to his show dated the 1st of September when I was on my way home from Brighton last night. Oh my God, did the rain come down last night or what? I tell you, it was like someone was standing in front of your car at one point, chucking buckets of water onto the windscreen. Unbelievable. Never seen so much rain on the motorway on the way home. Anyway, I was listening to Ross P's podcasts, and he was talking about pets. And of course, Ross has got a pet. And no, it's not a dog. No, it's not a cat. Not even a goldfish. He's got a budgie. He's got a budgie that, well, it doesn't talk, it squawks. If you can talk to the animals, squawk with the animals. La da 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 da. Dr. Dolittle, is it Dr. Dolittle, that one? I don't know. Anyway, Ross P, after listening to his show, I couldn't believe it. He actually thinks cats are a bit of a handful. Now, I'm surprised at this. Ross does watch the show. And now and again he emails in, and then usually 3 minutes later emails in again and says, why haven't you read out my email? You have to be a bit patient, dear. You must be. This is not McDonald's. You don't just walk in and order and it's there straight away. This is like an old cheese, maturing with age and getting better. Okay, a little mouldy round the edges sometimes, but nevertheless, we do try and improve the show. We can't do instant, Ross. Anyway, he reckons cats are a bit of a handful. And I'm just really surprised. Have you ever had a cat? They are the easiest animal to ever look up. I tell you what, with a cat, all you've ever got to do is put a bit of food down, and if you're in a flat, empty the cat tray. That's it. They're not bothered, mate. They are not. Cats are not bothered. They really aren't. They're easier to look after than a budgie. You haven't got that blooming sand thing in the bottom to change every day with the little poos on the bottom. You've got to put another bit of sandpaper in. You haven't got to do any of that. With a cat, you put the food down and you empty the litter tray if it's got a litter tray. That's it. So I can't understand that. Cannot understand why on earth you think my pussies need a lot of looking after. My pussies do not need looking after. They really don't. They're fine. They're no problem at all, dear. Don't know where you got that idea from. Also, his budgie, Timmy the budgie, I noticed, did make an appearance in his show on, I think it was the 1st or the 3rd of September. The budgie speaks. I don't know if you remember it must be about a year and a half ago now, I did mention that there is a budgie forum. Oh, yes. There's a budgie forum where people join this forum, and it's all about budgerigars, okay? They join the forum and they upload pictures of their beloved budgies to this site. Isn't that nice? Eh? But I'm looking at this site. I'm sorry. I don't want to seem racist here. But to me, I looked at those budgies and they all look the same to me. Did they you? Forum, just type in forum for budgies and you'll see it come up. It's just bizarre. So there we are, forum for budgies. If you've got a budgerigar and you love it to bits, why not upload a picture to the... In fact, send it to me. Send me the picture of your beloved budgerigar to the email address chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, right? chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Okay, also listening to the show, him and his girlfriend Donna are looking for a house to buy. They want a 3-bedroomed house, apparently, with... They're not bothered about... I can't believe you're not bothered about a garden, Ross. Oh, you've got to have a nice garden, dear. Don't buy a new house. Oh, very few of the new house. In fact, let me think carefully now. All the new houses that are, brand new, I have not seen a single one recently with a large garden. Now, we're talking of the normal, everyday houses, not these special ones that are built, to order or whatever. Now, my niece up in Lincolnshire, recently this year, bought a house with her boyfriend. They were saving up for ages. It's a really good, fantastic couple they are. My niece and Ben, the boyfriend, the two of them are just... They're just so perfect for each other. And he's as mad as a hatter. I get on quite well with him, strangely enough. And also, he's started to do the noises. Ben, my niece's boyfriend, has started to do the noises, so I'm pleased about that. Now, I did quietly say to my niece that I was... Because obviously, she's 21 now, right? The other nephew's 24... and the little nephew is now 11. And I'm afraid none of them want to play with Uncle Chris anymore. They've all going into their own lives. So, we need more babies. The family up north needs more babies. Now, I've already had a word with my sister, because I've got no one to look after now when I go up there. Jimmy, the little one, the 11-year-old, yeah, he's just about still mucking about with me. But he's going to start going out with his friends soon, isn't he? And he's not going to want old, decrepit Uncle Chris to come up there and play games. He's not going to want it. Now, every time I go up there, virtually every time we go to the cinema, now that did happen last time, but I've got a feeling it's not going to happen much longer. Or do you want to go to the cinema? No, nothing. I want to see. I know it's coming. It's going to be too old to play with Uncle Chris. So we need more babies. So I said to my niece, is there any chance that you could have another child? So then I'll have an excuse to come up and look after someone. No, we're not having children. Yet. Well, oh, sorry, I've nearly finished up with that. We're not having children yet, no. And she's no interest at all in having children yet. So what am I going to do? I've got no babies to look after anymore. God's sake. It's not fair. It's not fair. Actually, I have got a picture of last time. I don't know where it is now. Oh, I know. I've put it on my new Samsung mobile phone. I showed you that in the last show, didn't I? Do you remember? Oh, I'm loving that phone. Loving that phone. Although the only thing is, I will say, you can't change the screensaver. You know, the screensaver appears to be a series of photographs which are already set in the phone, and you can't change that, which I think is a bit of a shame, really. Bit disappointed about that, but overall I'm loving that phone. And I've just realised the new computer has got the Bluetooth on it, and I'll probably be able to. I've got a picture of myself on the settee around my niece's house, and Jimmy kind of came and sat next to me and had his head on my chest and fell asleep. And my niece took a photo of this, so I'll try and upload that onto this particular show. And if you want to see it, all things being well, if you want to see it, then look for the show dated the 9th of September 2008 by going to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. That's the main website for the show. All right, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. That's the email address there. So there we are. And her house up north, lovely house, very modern, but the garden is tiny. It's like a postage stamp. I mean, admittedly, my garden downstairs is not huge, but it's certainly big enough. I've been planting, or incidentally, I planted all those bulbs. Remember the bulbs I sold you? I planted a lot of the time. Sometimes you do a job like that, and you think to yourself, oh, a bit, quick 10 minutes, I'll put these bulbs in. But if you want to do it properly, and it is worth doing these things properly, then you need to read the instructions on the bulbs. And most of them say, put them in 10 centimetres. Well, 10 centimetres is not a quick hole like that. 10 centimetres is like that. Okay? It's nearly a foot. So what I did is I chose where I wanted to put them, all along the front and all along the side, and I dug a trench. I mean, I don't know what the neighbour thought. They probably thought I was burying people in the garden, because it did look a bit like a grave, to be honest. I'm sure the neighbour's probably looking out the window thinking, oh my God, he's burying another body in the garden. So I dug this trench along and put all the bulbs in, and hopefully come springtime, God pleasing, we're all still here, then I will show you the bulbs that have come up in the garden. All right? But going back to my niece's house, she's got a tiny garden, and there's some new houses. Well, I say new, they've been there. Oh no, they've been there about 10 years now. But when they were built, I did go up just to have a nose. I mean, I had no intention of buying one. Do you ever do that? Do you ever go around people's houses who are for sale just to have a look? Oh, I do. I used to do that. Yeah, me and my mum went up there. That would have been 1998 or 99, somewhere around that period. And again, the new house, there were some strange houses up there. There were a couple that were really big. I think there were 4 bedrooms, and you open the front door. These are the houses just up the road from me. You open the front door, and there's this rather grand hall with a staircase that goes. It's like something out of Dynasty. It really is. That staircase. I mean, obviously not like that, but similar to that. Great big hallway, and then the rooms are like box rooms. Now, why on earth the builder had given all the rooms to the hallway, I don't know. But the rooms were not large. Certainly the living room and one of the bedrooms was quite small. But worse than that for me is they were tiny, tiny gardens, like a postage stamp. And a lot of the new houses are like that, Ross. Don't get it, but I can't understand why you only want a small garden. But I did say to you, I did give you a message, didn't I? I do not advise. I know that you got your girlfriend and you love each other and all that, and you want to buy a house together and you want to get out of renting. And I know that. I heard your show and I heard you saying you rent something, it's just like throwing money away. Well, yes, it is. But house prices are coming down. This is not, and I'm fed up with people on the television and the radio telling everyone to go out and buy a house. They're doing it from their business point of view, in my opinion. All right? In my opinion, you should not be buying a house now. Wait for those prices to come down. Wait a year. And I guarantee, if you wait a year to buy a house, Ross, I reckon you'll save between £10,000 and £20,000. It's a lot of money, mate. It's a lot of money. It's, you see, and that is £20,000 less you'd have to borrow. And if we kind of translate that into your monthly outgoings, you won't be paying as much out, mate. You're better off to stay renting something at the moment. Okay, if you don't like where you are, you've got mould on your walls, haven't you? I heard that bit. It's got mould on his walls. Well, clean it off, dear. Bit of bleach to get rid of that. Get Donna down on her hands and knees. Get down on your hands and knees, Donna, and get that mould off, my darling. I take it is mould on your walls and not on you, Ross, is it? Honestly, I advise... Come on, you know I do a bit with property. All right? Now is not a good time to buy. The prices are falling. Wait. Okay? Wait. Wait about a year, maybe a year and a half. But wait. Don't buy a house now. I bet he still goes out and buys one. I know he's got his eye on a couple, actually. All right, so thanks for that, Ross. Now, if you want to have a little listen to Ross's podcast, okay? Like me, he does it for the love of it. Doesn't get paid, then you can find that at... No, you'll need a pen for this one, okay? Because it's a bit of a... He's got a funny surname. I told him to change his surname, but he doesn't listen. The website is Ross Patzelt, ROSSPATZ, or Z, if you're in America, ZELT, radio show. Okay, that's all one word. I'm going to spell that for you now, okay? ROSSPATZELT, radio show, all one word, Ross Patzelt radio show .mypodcast.com. And you can have a little listen to that. Maybe there's a radio station, one of the radio stations that plays this out. Maybe you'd be interested in taking someone else on. I don't know. He'd be pleased if you did. All right, once again, Ross Patzelt radio show .mypodcast.com. I'll spell it to you once again. American spelling now. ROSSPATZELT RADIOSHOW. Okay, Ross Patzelt radio show .mypodcast.com. And have a little listen to Ross and his life. And send him an email. Send him an email telling him not to buy a house yet. Oh, Ross, you're gonna spend too much money. So there we are. Talking of pets, Tiny is doing very well. She seems now to have completely recovered from a sort of minor operation of removing a toenail from her pad, poor thing. And is also now putting on weight, I'm pleased to say as well. So that's good. My niece's dog, Monty, has had his first operation on, I think, something to do with his knee. I gather there's too much bone, or there's another piece of bone growing there, or something like that. And I think they had to shave or cut that away, and he's recovering well. He's got to have another operation on the other leg as well. I did ring up my sister earlier, just before I started the show today, just before I spoke to Eric, actually. And she was saying one of her dogs is depressed at the moment. And we reckon it's because, of course, Bruno, the other dog, is no longer with her there. And by the way, thank you very much for those of you that sent in some lovely letters and emails, which, of course, I passed on to my sister. But while I was there, she was saying, oh, yeah, he's depressed. So, and she starts talking to him. She was talking to the dog. She says, oh, aren't you depressed, Duke? Don't you worry. Mummy's going to go out and spend some money on you. Mummy, yes, she is. Oh, look, his little tail's wagging, she says. So we think one of the dogs is a bit depressed because the other one is no longer there. And they obviously know. It's horrible, isn't it, really? All these people that say that animals have no feelings, I don't believe it at all. I think fish have feelings. I really do. Anyway, that's some bits of news there. Now, the car. Before we go on to the email. Oh, I've rabbited on too long again, haven't I? The car. You're wondering about the car, aren't you? I can hear you saying, Chris, what's happened to the car? I can hear you. Well, how far did we get? I can't remember. I did tell you about the gorgeous RAC man, didn't I? Eh? Oh, he was lovely. I never did find out his name. I told you he collected my car from Acton in London. Funnily enough, just round the corner from Joy. Now I think about it, I was only round the corner from Joy. Old Oak Roads. That's where I broke down, Joy. That's on the other side of the A40. You're on one side, and it's like a straight line, isn't it? So the A40 is a very, very busy London road. And Joy is like on that side. You've got the main road there. She's like down there and round a bit. The main road's then there, sort of in front of it. And then I was broke down on the road on the other side of it. I never thought of that, Joy. I was only 10 minutes away from your house, by foot even. I could have popped in, couldn't I? Anyway, so... the car's back here. The RAC man towed it back. I made him a cup of tea, but unfortunately he disappeared very quickly after that. But at least I had the cup that he drunk out of, eh? Which hasn't been washed since, and that's all I've been using. I mean, to be quite honest, it's starting to stain a bit in the bottom. I'm getting a lot of brown stain from the tea and the coffee that he drank in the bottom. But never mind. So off he went. So Saturday I didn't go to work. Sunday, of course, I could have got into London, but I wouldn't have been able to get out again. So fortunately, I do have someone who can cover my bookings in London when I can't do them if something like that happens, which actually never has. I don't think there's been an occasion where I've broken down and not been able to get to work. That's the first time ever. But that's not bad, is it, in about 27 years? So, no work Sunday. Funnily enough, the car was already booked in for a service on Monday, which kind of made me think that it's possibly something that they've got to do anyway. Unfortunately, it wasn't. The RAC man had thought that there was something wrong with one of the injectors in the car that sprays the... diesel into the engine. I'm not sure how all that works, don't ask me. But they thought that as well in the garage. And well, the service charge was £95, and had it have been the injector, the part itself was like £400, £400 or £500. A lot of money. Lot of money. Anyway, so on Monday, I rang them up in the morning and I said, I've got this car, it broke down. I am due in for a service. I got up early, especially to ring them. How am I going to get to you? They said, what light is on? So I told him that a certain warning light was on. He said, no, that's fine. You'll be able to drive it up there on that. Okay, because it's only up 10 minutes up the road. It's not far at all. So I got in the car, switched it on, started it off. I went, guess what? No warning light, no lumpy engine. I thought, oh, don't say it's going to be all right by the time I get there. Don't say I've got an intermittent fault. One of the worst faults you can get, an intermittent fault. Doesn't matter what you're talking about here, cars, televisions, computers, I don't know, anything. The intermittent fault is the worst one you can get. Very difficult to chase. Got up to the garage. Hello. Told them the problem. That was it. Okay, we'll have a look at it and we'll do the service at the same time. Fair enough. So I then sat there, and I always like to have a bit of a laugh with with the girls that work up there behind the service counter. That's at Toyota in Bracknell. And I've got a very nice man who looks after me, and his name's Carl. And funnily enough, he was also at Land Rover. When I had the Land Rover 2 years ago, he worked at Land Rovers, and he left Land Rovers and went to Toyota. And I couldn't believe it when I first went in to buy a Toyota, and he was working behind a desk. I thought, this man's following me around. How nice! How nice. He clearly understood my celebrity status and wanted to make sure I was all right. So he's following me around as I buy different cars here and there. So that's nice. So I'm sitting down there having a laugh with one of the girls. I said, "Oh, I broke down last week." She said, "Really?" She said, "I know we sell them, but honestly, it's really unusual for a Toyota to break down." I said, "Oh, I know." I said, "I don't have a problem with it. You know, all those years of motoring, not really had much of a problem." I said, "But besides, you should have seen the RAC bloke. He was gorgeous." And with that, she fell about laughing. Anyway, she told the sales girl who said, "Oh, I've got this bloke outside who's going on about the RAC bloke." And immediately the other girl knows. She said, "Oh, that must be Chris." And she come running round with a new pamphlet. You know, think they're going to sell me another car. Because Toyota, of course, they're bringing out a new car soon called an IQ, which is even smaller than mine. Similar size, I suppose, to one of those smart cars. The only thing is it's not a diesel model. And although the miles per gallon petrol, it is quite good. I think it's something like 55 miles to the gallon on the petrol model. My diesel model, as I've said before, I'm getting about 70. I can get 75, 78 miles a gallon out of that. So I'm not going to change. But I had a look at the book and it was all very nice. Anyway, so I sat there, read a newspaper, and eventually Carl calls us over. He says, "All right, well, it's done and it's not done." I said, "Okay." I said, tell me the bad news." He said, "Well, we've done the service, but the part we need, we think it's a jet. We've got one on order overnight, so we'll have to keep the car here while we're doing that. Here's a what was it called? A courtesy car. Here's a courtesy car you got outside." I said, "Oh," I said, "Oh, that's very good," because I hadn't even asked. I didn't even ask. Immediately, as soon as they realised I couldn't take the car out, a courtesy car was brought round straight away. Now that's what you call good service. Toyota. I've always said that about that garage. Very, very good service in there. They know how to treat a customer, and guess what? The customer keeps coming back. If only other companies would listen to that. You know what? Sometimes companies, I tell you, sometimes you have to lose a bit of money yourself to retain the custom. Keep the customer happy. It's like my flats, okay? The tenants in my flats, when something goes wrong, bang, I have it fixed like that. Keep the customer happy. Last thing I ever want is for a tenant to move out. Costs me money. You've got to keep them happy. That's how it works. And there's too many companies, we've talked about this so many times, haven't we? There's too many companies out there who do not look after their customers properly. And it's all very sad. There was a particular electrical retailer. I don't know if they still have this policy, but if you bought something and took it back, even after a short period of time, they would say to you, "Well, we need to send it back for testing." No, you blooming well don't. You give me a new one there and then. I don't want it tested. Or a refund. What do you want to do? I mean, I rarely ask, if something has gone wrong, I rarely ask for a refund. I'll ask for like replacement. But, you know, and you don't buy anything in that shop. Very, very rarely do I buy anything in that shop now. Because you didn't look after me. Fine, I'll go somewhere else. That's it. Anyway, so... okay, thanks very much. And I went outside, and they gave me, the courtesy car they gave me was an Auris. I think that's how you say it. AURIS. Lovely car, dear. Very executive. It's quite big. It was another diesel car, but rather large car. Really nice. Really nice. And I thought, well, I'd like one of these. And then I thought, no, that's not economical. You don't need a large car, Chris. Stick with what you've got. So I drove this car. So of course I was able to go to work then on the. Well, actually, I didn't have work Monday night, did I? No, I didn't have work Monday. So, but I did have work on Tuesday. So Monday I didn't go anywhere. I just drove it home and then come back here and did some things around the house. Tuesday, I had work, and I thought, well, they're bound to ring me today at some point. Well, it got to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They still hadn't rung me. So I thought, oh, I better give them a ring, you know, because I need to go in now and collect my car. Otherwise, I'm going to start mucking up my timings for the rest of the night. So I rang up Carl. He says, oh, yes. He said, it wasn't the jet after all. It's a wiring loom. We found a wiring loom and it's broken, not repairable. Need a new one, £250. Oh, God, £250. Do you know what a wiring loom is, do you? OK, it's basically a wire or a few wires in between two plastic connectors. That is a wiring loom. £250 for one of these, dear. What a cheek, dear. I'm robbed again. Robbed. But I can't complain, really. You see, because since having that little Toyota, I have saved a fortune in comparison with the Land Rover. An absolute fortune. I always loved I had 3 Land Rovers. I loved them. I loved driving those Defender Land Rovers. But there comes a point where you say, this is outrageous what it's costing, and you just don't need it. You're paying out the money for nothing. That's why I got the small car. And let me tell you, the total cost of the repair is not equal to the 2 months savings on the Land Rover. That just tells you how much I was paying out for that thing, wasn't it? Anyway, so I says, will you want me tonight? He says, no, come back tomorrow and I'll give you a ring when we're ready. So Wednesday afternoon, he rang me. He says, right, all done now. And I went out and collected my little car and it's all been fine ever since. Total cost, £540, of which about 140 was the service that it was due up there for anyway. And also I had a headlight bulb installed for that as well. Was there anything else? No, I think that was it. So, yeah, quite a lot of money, but as I say, nowhere near as much as what I used to pay out for the Land Rover. So, not too bothered, and now it goes like a dream again. My car has been repaired. It is well again. No longer does it cry while it was limping through Acton back to Bracknell. There we are. So that's the news for my car, right? All working well. Thank you for your concern, my darlings. Right, let's do some emails then. The email address of the show, once again, is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Did I read this one out? Did we do this one earlier? It's from Stuart. Stuart joins us. Yes, we did, didn't we? Stuart joins us on Facebook. Oh, that's what I meant to say to you. He's the one who wrote in about the Birdsong on DAB radio. Now, you may remember, regular listeners to the show, I stuck my microphone out in the garden around April and recorded 5 hours worth of noises in the garden. Now, do you remember I told you that? I never got around to kind of uploading it to my website. I do still intend to do that at some point. The only thing is, there is within this Birdsong thing a couple of points where there's like a crash and a bang, and I've no idea what the noise is. I had intended to leave that out. However, if I just upload it as it is now, then I could achieve it a lot. Shall I just do that? I'll upload it as it is. You'll hear, I mean, I can't remember at what point the crash is. There's 5 hours of this Birdsong and noises from my garden altogether. You can also hear some people talking, and I think at one point I could hear someone singing as well, which must have been the neighbours. But that's what I'll do. I'll upload it to my site without actually having to edit all the other bits out, so at least it will be up there then. All right? Got to say hello to Suko, who says, I did get a new computer. It's a pleasure, so much faster than the old one. Right, now, I don't understand what's happened here because these are consecutive dates, but one is indicating that it was later than the other one, but it's come in at the wrong time. I'll read them as they are. She says, right now, I'm using both computers. She says, good luck with your new phone. Jade said you should come over here to New York and she can teach you how to use it. She's really good with technical stuff. By the way, I have an old Razor. She has a BlackBerry. I have an old Razor. Oh, sorry. An old... Is that a Motorola Razor, isn't it? It's a Razor phone, sorry. I have an old Razor. Are they old? How long have those been around? They were nice, those phones, weren't they? And Jade has a BlackBerry. Oh, I've seen those. She is the text queen and has gone over the max. So she was told she will have to pay for the overage. Do you think that will curtail the texting? Probably not. No, I wouldn't have thought so, Suko. Oh, well, at least she's where I can see her. And I know she's not getting into trouble. She's a really good kid, though. Oh, I know that. I know that, Suko. And this is a bit that confuses me, because then I got a text a while later. It's probably me getting confused. Dear Christopher, great news. The computer has landed. Do you remember her husband? Oh, no, this was her husband's computer. OK, so that makes sense now. Her husband, he's got a Toshiba computer, which he had a problem with. He rung up the help desk, and after a period of time... they decided to send him a large box or envelope, and he'd have to send it back. The next day, someone bought this envelope round, took the computer away, and that was it. Well, Toshiba lost it. They couldn't find it. But when they were on the phone to them, they were really good. And Suko writes, great news, the computer has landed. Here's the scoop. Jerry called daily to see if the computer had been located. Each day, he got someone different. Oh, tell me about it, yeah. And each person tried their best to be helpful, but to no avail. At 3:50 p.m. this past Thursday, he spoke to yet another person who could find no further information on the whereabouts of his computer. Jerry decided it was time to speak to the top person. At 4:50, a man named John, who was the top supervisor at the Louisville, Kentucky warehouse, called. He took the matter into his own hands, located the computer, which had been sent to the wrong division of the warehouse refurbishing area rather than the repair area. He asked Jerry if he had sent any accessories, and Jerry said that he had not. He said that he would send him a new power cord and a few other things. Jerry praised the staff, telling John they were all pleasant and very professional. By 8:45 a.m. the next morning, OK, this is good service, this. By 8:45 the next morning, a doorbell rang and there was a UPS man with a large box. Inside the box was Jerry's computer, completely repaired. And if that's not good service, John threw in a new power cord, which normally sells for $79.95. A new power cord. Do you actually mean... I think you mean the whole power unit, not just the wire. You mean the power... I've got one here. Hang on a minute. Do you mean... 1 minute. There we are. I think you mean one of the whole thing with the box and everything, do you? It's like a black box in the middle. That's the transformer, isn't it? So they sent him one of those worth $80, which is actually a good thing to have a spare one of those, because the wires, if you're moving it around all the time... I've got one of my old ones here, which I don't use anymore. But as you can see, well, I'll explain to you. It's like a black box with one bit of wire that goes to the computer and one bit of wire that goes to the plug. Incidentally, I don't know if you've ever seen an English plug, but they look like that. Okay, that's one of our electric plug sockets. That's the earth. That's the neutral. And that's the live pin on there. So it's a British plug there. And what tends to happen, if you use them and you're moving around a lot of the time, the wire goes at the end. And here you can see I've taped the wire didn't actually go on this, but because I've had experience of it breaking before, almost as soon as I purchased it, this is an old laptop actually that I've got over there. I don't use it anymore. But soon after I bought it, what I did is I got an old pen, okay? An old pen, and I taped it along with the wire along the side so that the strain on the wire is at that bit and not that bit there. Because that bit, I could cut back a bit if it ever broke, cut back and rejoin the wires, you see. If it breaks at the bottom near the box, there's nothing you can do with it. And these are, as you found out, expensive items. I noticed, you know, when something goes wrong with a computer, they are fairly expensive items. Some of the people that do cheap laptops, for example, Dell. I've often bought stuff from Dell. My new computer is from Dell. But I have found anything other than the main computer that you buy, if you want to upgrade it after that, then you don't go to the I find Dell quite expensive if you want anything extra. Now, I wanted a couple of memory chips for my old computer, and that was coming out at £300. It's an awful lot of money. I still would like to upgrade the old computer, to be honest, because the new one I bought specifically to do the video side of things. So I want to upgrade this other one here. Anyway, I'm glad your computer's there. Suko goes on to say they also included an LCD wiring harness. I don't know what that is. A new LCD cover? What's that? I don't know what an LCD cover is. New top cover and a new keyboard as well. You can't beat that for service. That's really good. That is Toshiba. Really good service from Toshiba there. By the way, you mentioned you hoped Jerry didn't have any important information on the computer. Jerry told me to tell you and the listeners that he backed up the entire computer to an external hard drive and put the basic Toshiba operating system back on the computer. Excellent, excellent. In other words, restored it to the state it was when it was purchased new. Said to tell all your listeners that you should never send a computer for repair with personal information on it. Of course, that's sometimes difficult though, Suko. If your computer is broken down and you can't turn it on, then you haven't got much choice, have you? You've got to send it in as it is. I bet some of those computer repairers have seen some strange sights. Dear me. And then Suko goes on to say, speaking of daft cats, because we were saying that cats are daft. Now, I've got two, and they're as daft as ours is, the best of them. Jerry thinks that Jerry's her husband. Jerry thinks our cats are completely bonkers. He wonders why we always get such wacko pets. Neither May nor Jasmine will drink water out of a bowl. When May, who is 6 years old, wants a drink, she'll jump into the bathtub and wait until someone notices she's there. Then we'll turn on the tap to a drip and she lets it drip on her paw and she licks it off. Well, my Katie does that. You put down a bowl of water, but she prefers... I tell you what, no, you can get her to drink out of the bowl of water. What you have to do is make it look like the water's moving. So you know when you put the bowl of water down, just lift it, okay, and put it down quickly so that there's ripples in the water. I've noticed with Katie, if I do that, she'll drink it. But she won't drink it until she sees this water moving. How weird is that? But I have caught her many occasions. She jumps up into the kitchen and tries to lick the water, tries to lick the water out of the tap. She does. Jasmine, aged 2, must have thought she was missing something when she moved in, that's the other cat, after observing May drink from the bathtub faucet, is it? She will now only drink water around the bathtub ring. Of course, we leave a bowl of water out for all of them at all times, but neither Wackadoodle ever touches it. By the way, they are both skittish, so we call them Chicken Fat, May, who is enormous, and Chicken Little, Jasmine, who is small and sleek. Just like us, Suko, we are small and sleek, don't you think? We'll say to each other, has anyone seen the chickens? Or I'll say, did anyone feed the chickens? Which is a joke since I'm the only one who does. But we love them nonetheless. They are both very different. Mai is the grand old lady who spends most of her time free sleeping or watching Jasmine make a fool of herself. And Jasmine is playful, curious little tomboy. Both are very affectionate and wonderful pets in their own way. And Jade I got this wrong in one of the other programmes. Jade was in fact 3 days old when Suko found her. So sorry about that. I stand corrected, my dear. I stand corrected. Now, I've got some more emails, which we might have to have an email catch-up programme on the next show, OK? Don't forget, you can always find the shows. If you're not listening to radio or satellite, you can find the shows at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Now, nearly time to go, but before I go, I have to tell you, I rung up Joy a couple of days this week, and Joy is not someone that goes out. Joy is a bit of a regular on the show. We've had her on the show a few times on the telephone, and she is actually, now that I think about it, we had this thing about who's the longest listener. Actually, Joy in Acton is the longest listener, not just to this show, but to me as a kind of radio person. Joy has been with me since 1999, listening to the various different things that I've done. And I keep in contact with telephone, and this week I haven't been able to get hold of her. So I emailed her daughter. Now, you remember on the last show we were having a little bit of a joke about her heart, she loves making a joke of anything serious, okay? And her daughter's written back, "Dear Chris, sorry to tell you that Mum's been taken ill. She collapsed at home and had to have an emergency ambulance called to take her to Hammersmith Hospital. She's being screened for everything, blood, heart, kidneys and possible internal blockage that is going to be investigated by one of those endoscopes. She's waiting for that procedure to take place. In the meantime, Joy's had 2 x-rays and ultrascan that have not shown up any problem. Apart from her feeling weak, the doctors say that she's in remarkably good shape for someone who's over 80 years old. She's in good spirits and we hope to have an answer at the weekend. I will tell you that you've inquired." So that's good, and the hospital are really looking after her well. So that's the news about Joy, and I'll let you know as soon as I hear anything. If you want to send anything in to her, I'll pass it on. The usual email address, chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. See you on the next show. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye now.